Welcome to the Immigrant Entrepreneurs Podcast, Episode 5. My name is Alina Warwick, and today I'm so honored and so excited to chat with Herby Duverne. Oh my goodness, guys, I had such a great time chatting with him. You'll get to see where all the laughter comes from because this guy exudes extreme happiness from within. The entire chat with Herby was so pleasant and just filled with laughter. He came to the States from Haiti when he was 20 years old, at the time when Haiti's unemployment rate was 60%. One of his early jobs was washing dishes in the back of a deli market because he couldn't speak English and couldn't take the orders at the registers. But just wait to hear his entire story of how he started a company with a partner that got up to $900,000 in net revenue in their second year of business. Let's dive right in to hear all about his amazing journey. Herby, thank you so much for coming on my podcast. I really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy life, and I'm so honored to chat with you. So, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. So, let's start from the very beginning. Let's talk about your immigrant journey. Tell us where you're from and when did you come to the States?
Oh, so I'm from Haiti. If you know about Haiti, people call it Haiti sometimes.
Uh-huh.
So I'm from Haiti. I came here um, December 26, 1989. I was 20 years old when I came to this United States, to the country. So I migrated first in New York City. My dad, who's been here for many years, was became a citizen at some point, and then he decided to file for uh, resident paper for me and my sister to come to the United States. So I came first, even though my sister was older. I was able to come first, and part of it was living in Haiti. Sometimes it's not easy to find a proper paperwork, so you have to really show that you existed. So he's not some kind of a fake kid he's trying to bring to the United States. So all those, the process took at least 2 years. And even when I was ready, when all my paperwork was ready, there was still issue with my sister's paperwork, which 6 months later, she ended up coming to join my dad and my little sister. My dad I have a half sister with my stepmother at the time. And then it was my dad, my stepmother, my little sister at that time, and my older sister. So it was strange, coming to this country. I've never been to the outside Haiti ever. Not even in Santo Domingo, even next door to it. I never left the country. I never speak a
Wow.
word of English. I decided to be, to come um, and I remember that day was like a culture shock to me when I came that December 26, 1989. I came and I remember it was cold. If you outside the car, you're talking, smoke is coming out of your mouth because it was December and cold. So it was a very kind of a strange kind of like, wow, look at this big place and big buildings and airports and roads. And it was amazed. I was just amazed by how big this place was. But also, I was, and then part of it is because I was already old. I was 20 years old. I was a man, and I had to go. I had to work. I had to get a job. And then I remember a couple of weeks later, after I sat at the house for a long time, my dad said, "Hey, I gotta try to get you a job." So I went and tried to apply for work, but most places couldn't hire me because I didn't speak the language. I didn't speak English, so they were like, "Okay, you know, at some of the places I was able to get a job was places that have. There was a place that have in New Jersey. One of my uncle, who is a distant. uncle of mine. Our family sometime in different culture call everybody uncle. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
he was working at a location where they were in New Jersey, where they were taking boxes out. It's like a loading places where you take boxes out of one truck trailer to another one. So I remember I was doing that because it's an easy work to do. All you have to do is
Mm-hmm.
my uncle worked there. All you have to say, hey, Herby, move the boxes from here to there. So I just know he just have to point it to me and I know what to do. So that's what I did. I moved the boxes and after that, this job was a temporarily work and I got a job at least in Manhattan at some point. And that job was mainly in one of those food places like a daily place where you serve people sandwiches and soup. And then my work is because I couldn't be at the register to take order from client because and customer because I didn't speak the language. So I was mostly working in the kitchen on the back, cleaning big pots of soup and dishes
Mm.
and hot water. So that's what I was doing. And then
If I can I just interrupt for
yeah,
one
absolutely.
quick second. What was it like growing up in Haiti?
It was interesting. I did not know how poor that we were until I came to the United States. That was a really,
Mm,
sometimes perspective is a very different things. We were
mm,
very poor. We were very poor. And then in Haiti, at least when I was there, my only hope of survival or getting somewhere is to leave the country. So I
mm,
did not have a choices like, well, if you go to more school and you might become X, because even to get to the public university in Haiti to become a doctor and an agronomist or you name them, you
mm.
gotta have connection. You have to know
Yeah,
someone.
yeah.
Those are a medical school is only will accept 300 kids, and there's millions of kids. Only one medical school at the
Mm,
top. So I know that there was no way that I will be able to thrive, to get anywhere, unless I get out of the country. But we were poor. My mother was a single mom. She was working 12 hours in a factory that was making aluminum bowl for many years. She
mm,
was sometimes working 6 days, usually it's Monday to Friday, but sometimes for additional time, additional hours, she would work on Sunday. We were living in we started, I remember when I was perhaps eight or so, I was living in one room with my sister, my mom, and myself. And then, there's a bedroom inside the room. There's a table. Some people sleep on the floor. Some people sleep on the bed. and then,
wow.
um, and then later on, as my dad stabilized in the United States, was sending us money every so often, we were able to have two bedroom. I mean, I'm sorry, not two bedroom, two room apartment. So where the dining room and the living room was separate, and there was only one room for everybody else to sleep. So that's kind of the memories that I have.
So in the beginning, it was just one room with the kitchen, the laundry, everyone was sleeping all just in one room.
One room, and just to put that in perspective, there was no laundry, for example. It was one room. That room has there was no laundry. The room has a bedroom. The room has a table. With the table, that's sort of the dining, so-called dining table, and that room would be a big bed where sometime three of us, my sister, my mom, and myself, would sleep on that. Again, we were younger kids. We sleep on
Mm,
that bed. And the kitchen where you sort of cook is outside the house. It's sort of in the
mm,
open outside the house. And then the laundry is there was no such thing as a laundry. You just wash your hand, wash your clothes. My mom and was doing that, wash the clothes with
mhm,
her hands, and then we put you hang those clothes, on the string. That's
mm,
where laundry. There was no such thing as a refrigerator, none of that. So I mean we were extremely poor. But the thing is like even though we were poor, she was always find a way to send me to school. I was always going to school, even sometimes changing school because in Haiti, when I was there, during my time, when you don't pay for a couple of months the tuition of that school, because most of the school that you can go are private school, the one that's public school are very difficult for you to get into them. So you have to be on the top of your class. You have to be the smartest one to get to those schools. So you had to
Wow.
send you to the private school, and those private school they are everywhere. So these private school that I was, sometimes you will owe money a couple months because you're behind. They will just send you home. So you stay home for a month or so until mom has the money and everything else and paid off, and then you go back to school. So it was on and
Wow.
off. I remember it was on and off. Sometimes we go for a few months, we cannot pay, we stop going, and then she figure out somehow. She always find a way either to a friend to get a loan or something to sort of get us back to school. School was the important stuff. On a regular basis, we will eat 1 or 2 meals per day, not 3 meals. I mean, the only when I come to the
Wow.
United States was like, oh well, there's no such thing as 3 meals. We were like eating,
Wow.
1 or 2 meals. That's just how it is. But we were happy. I mean, I was very happy. As a young boy, I was happy because I realized that I had the the ultimate the entire love my mom had for me. It was like she just like loved her kids, and just her pride, knowing that she feel that she needs to do whatever it takes to really bring us to the next level. Because my mom never went to school. My mom never didn't know how to read and write. So for her to send her kids to school was something she felt very proud of. So that was how our life was, very kind of tough. But I was keep going. I was keep going from the next grade. And when I was 20, that's when my dad, threw the paperwork and say, well, we're coming to the United States. And then that's when life changed.
You kind of always knew that you were going to end up in America because your dad left.
That's
Was
exactly right.
that kind of, yeah, okay.
That's
So
exactly right.
tell me a little bit about the struggles that you had to go through when you first immigrated to the States. And I know one of them you said you had absolutely no English. You didn't speak any English.
So the struggle is like I felt that, one is a culture, not only you don't speak the language, the culture was very different what I was accustomed to in Haiti. That was a big part of it. I felt that I was not belong, right? It's like what I'm doing here
Hmm. Hmm.
because I'm so different because I spent 20 years growing up in Haiti. Even though the life was better, I was able to get more than 2 meals a day, but the culture was different. And then they also, I never worked in Haiti, not because we were spoiled as kids, because there was no job.
Hmm.
Unemployment there is 60%. So there was no such thing that we're going to have a job. So that
How
was the
did you
first job that
guys
I,
support yourself?
it was her. I mean, she was, she was doing whatever it takes to make sure that we got food,
Wow.
that we were being able to go to school. She was at the center. My mom was the one that's like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that my kids eat. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that my kids go to school. We may not have to have 3 meals. We may not have the best meal. We may not have the best toy, but we're gonna have the basics. And then the basics was always she always provided the basic to us. And the struggle for me in the United States was the language barrier was a big thing for me. And then self-esteem was another issue because nothing worse, in this country. And I pay attention to that. When someone has an accent, or when someone speak a broken English, or when someone speak a different language, my face always have a smile on it because I feel it's a way of welcoming people. It's a way for me to
Right.
say, oh yeah, I'm really interested in what you're saying. I want to hear
Yeah.
more, because I feel that that's the best things I can do to people, as opposed to, because I felt that growing up at my early time in the US, it was like you say something wrong, people looking at you like, stop talking. It was like,
Right.
don't say
Right.
anything. It's like, it's like, okay, and then your self-esteem starting to get damaged. You're like, okay, I gotta be very careful what I say. Sometimes you get angry. You're saying something, people say, what do you say? Or people will treat you like, your accent or your language it's just a sound thing. They will say, "Could you speak louder? I can understand you." Like you deaf, basically. That's how they were talking to you. Oh, the worst thing is they know you're not educated, right? You're not. Again, education is a big thing. I mean, that was that struggle. And then just to fast forward this piece, and then about a year and a half, my dad decided to say, you know what, let's move to Boston. There's a way we can get a better job in Boston. And that's how I went to Boston with my dad, my little sister, my older sister, and my stepmom. And then a few months later, my dad decided that he didn't like Boston because he'd been living in New York for a long time with his wife. He said he's going back. And we're like, well, listen, my sister and my older sister said, listen, we're growing up. We don't have to follow dad wherever he goes to. We're going to stick to Boston. We're going to stay in Boston. We're going to make a life of ourselves in Boston. Again, in Boston, I was able to get better job. I work at a grocery place. I was a custodian at some point at Harvard. I always tell people that story that I went to Harvard, but really what I really did, I was cleaning dorm at Harvard. I think it was kind of an interesting story. So, well, I've been to Harvard cleaning. So I was at Harvard cleaning up, and then I drove a cab at some point. I was a cab driver, and all through this time, I was taking English as a second language in community college around Boston, and then I ended up going to Northeastern University as an undergrad, and then ended up getting a master's, and my career took off from there.
That's amazing. That's so powerful. Your story is so inspiring, and it's just the beginning. I'm so excited to hear the rest. So was your dad an entrepreneur? Did you have any entrepreneur mentors at all?
So my dad was not an entrepreneur. And then, actually, let me step back a little bit. My dad was a cab driver in New York for many, many years. Even to this day, he is. So I would consider that as an independent kind of worker, because as a cab driver, you just went to pick up your cab when you want to. You spend the hours. So I will say that was already in his blood, being an entrepreneur. Because all he was doing is driving a cab. Although he didn't own the cab, but nevertheless, he wasn't. Since I know my dad in this country, he never worked for a company that give him a check. He always have to work for the money. He want more money, he went to work for more hours. He take the cab for longer. If he want less, he take a break. So if you want to work 7 days and so forth. So I would say he was like this, but I also feel that my entrepreneur spirit really came from being born in Haiti. Growing up in Haiti, I see Haitian people. If you go to Haiti, and then especially in the capital, you see people moving around and selling anything. You see people selling all things on the side of the street, on the house, and there's always that entrepreneur's feeling, thinking, I gotta do whatever it takes to take care of myself. So that feeling of entrepreneurial, that feeling of, listen, I gotta take control of my own destiny, was always in my blood as a Haitian person, because I felt that I got to do it myself. Even though I grew up getting excellent work after I graduated from college, I ran security at Logan International Airport, as this top civilian there doing that. But I decided that I wanted to do my own business because I wanted to have my own, I want to have control of my own destiny. That's sort of how I see it.
So before you tell our listeners about how you opened your company, tell me about the path you took. And I know you're dropping a little hints here and there. Did you try going into any other fields before starting your business?
So yes. So I first of all, my college degree was in criminal justice. So I was a criminal justice major. That's when I get both my bachelor and my master's degree in criminal justice administration.
Did you want to be a cop?
I did not want to be a cop. So from the moment I started at Northeastern as a criminal justice major, I wanted to be doing something more around risk and security. I really feel that was the best, because I also have a minor in sociology. So I feel that my minor in sociology kind of will help me dealing with people. And I was always a people person. I was always sort of wanted to deal with people in a very different level So I took the path. I never, all my undergrad classmates took tests about getting to different police department all over the place. I never took
Mm-hmm.
one exam to get entrance to any police department.
Mm.
I know from the beginning I wanted to be more like security, risk assessment, risk mitigation type of work. Really work about try to prevent things from happening, not be so much reactive way, which is what most police department does. So I really
Mm.
wanted to sort of be in that kind of prevention kind of way. And that's what my path was. My path was working for different corporation, organizations, a financial institution, airport, as I said earlier, and then my job was focused on mainly, and he also retail. Retail. I work for many retail agency department and companies where my job to prevent theft or to prevent breach of security and so forth. So that's sort of the path that I had. That's sort of what my education throughout my college and also after that, that's what it is.
Awesome. So you tried criminal justice and you're going to all of these corporate jobs. At what point did you decide I'm going to venture out and I'm going to open up my business?
So it was right around uh, 2012, right around February 2012.
Mm-hmm.
I I was at the time at Massport about 6 years. So at Logan Airport where I was working, about 6 years into the job. And then I just have this thing in me. I felt like I want to take a chance. I felt that I wanted to, you know, do it on my own. And I had a really great job, a really excellent job, with a lot of responsibility nevertheless, but a really excellent job. I got a car from the organization,
Mm.
unmarked car. I mean, I had people working for me. I had a budget. I have an assistant. I mean, it was like my dream work. I mean, where
Mm.
I was, it was like awesome. But I also feel that I felt that I could even do better. I felt that I could create something much better. And then I remember that February 2012, I had a conversation with my wife. My youngest son, my last one, was about a month. He was born in January 2012. He was right around February. I told my wife that my wife is a teacher. I say, I think I'm going to leave my job. She's like, are you serious? It's like, there's no way my teacher salary can support, our kids and all of us, what do
Newborn baby.
newborn baby. I say, are you serious? I know it's weird. And she said, well, what happened if you don't make it? I say, first of all, I told my wife at the time that I don't believe I'm not gonna make it. And then
Mm.
part of it is, I think because of the way I was raised in Haiti, because of the life that I live in Haiti, it's almost that life as horrible and I don't want to call horrible in a way that horrible per se, as poor that life was, as I felt that was enough for me to say, I know no matter what, I've been to the bottom. There's
Mm.
no way I'm going to get to that bottom. So if I lose my job and I start a business and I'm not able to make the end meet and I have to get two jobs or I have to get, because I already had a master's at the time, a master's degree. I felt that there's no way this is going to be so terrible than the life that I had in Haiti. So
Mm.
that was my point of reference. My point of reference is like, well, listen, you will never get that way. Not in the United States. That
Right,
you're only gonna
right,
get one meal,
right.
not that many meals. No, that's not gonna happen. So anything between where I was in Haiti to where I am or where I could have been if my business doesn't work, to me was still a good life.
Hmm.
It was not a bad life. So that's the calculation that I made. My wife was born in the United States and from here, and then she has a completely different perspective. Like, listen, I don't want to be poorer than I am. And I'm thinking, like, listen, I live in a way poor environment than the way we are now. There's
she,
no way
she,
with
she called you
yeah,
crazy?
She's calling me crazy. She's like, "What? This is crazy." I was like, so what I tell my wife at the time, I said, "Well, listen, I'm not gonna leave today. Let me make a plan to leave in a few months." I'd say, you know what? What about I leave at the end of the summer? So from February to August of 2012, I just planned my exit. I just planned the way I see my job, the connection that I make. I just planned that. I planned that. I started to work at nighttime, setting up my business plan, my website. I do my regular job during the day, and then I put my website, I get my business card. I'm sort of building the business while I'm working a full-time job. I did that from February of 2012 to August 3rd, 2012. So, and then I looked for partners. At the time, there was someone that I knew that wanted to do business with me. I said, you know what, this is what I'm doing. He also was trying to do a business himself. We said, why don't we partner together and have a company? So we decided to have a company called Taino, Taino Consulting Group. Taino Consulting Group initially was job is to focus on cybersecurity, which my friend had experience in, and physical security, which I have experience on. So we say we're going to combine those two, cyber and physical security. We started in August, two of us, and I have to tell you, it was grind. You like, all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay. Everyone, when you work for an organization, everybody want to talk to you. If I work for a corporation, I call anybody. They're like, oh, yeah, be happy to get your caller. I'll be happy to talk to you. Oh, yeah, call me. Let me know if you need anything. The moment you left your regular job, you are out there on your own, is different. It's people don't see you the same way anymore. People see like, oh, wow. He hasn't proved himself yet. Is he gonna fail? Is he gonna make it? So that was kind of like a awakening moment for me. And at the time, I'm like, wow, this is brutal. I will say I never felt that I worked as hard in my life than I ever worked in all the jobs that I had. Because I realized like, wow, I really have to, because what I felt that is whatever I'm thinking I'm doing, I got to double it. Every day I'm thinking that way. If I'm feeling like, geez, man, I contacted 5 customers today, prospective customer, I feel that I got to contact 10 tomorrow. If I do 10, I didn't feel I need to do 20. I always feel that in my head that I need to double my effort, because the mindset you have when you start in a business is a mindset is you have no idea when your next paycheck's going to come from tomorrow. When you started, you're like, okay, even when you have a paycheck today, you have no clue if it's going to come again tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, this is the check. Then you constantly have to wash and keep working harder. so I was like, so that was a brutal thing for me, brutal awakening in my mind in terms of thinking that way.
Did you and your partner need to raise any capital before you started your business?
So yes, we needed to raise in capital, but we could not raise capital. we could not raise capital. We needed to raise capital. Like, oh yeah, let's try to get some loan. No bank wanted to look at us. No bank, like, we work to those bank. There's different community banking here in Boston. we go talk to them. Like, the first thing they ask us, say like, okay, what's your last 2 years, profit and loss? We're like, we just started a couple months. We just started now. Oh, okay. How many customers you have so far? We're like, oh, none. Okay. So why don't you, some of these organizations, including the bank, they were very nice to us, except they were going to give us money. They're like, oh yeah, why don't you come back when they always, I felt that during that process, they always had advice for us. People were giving us full lot of advices, except giving us the things that we want. We want money. Like, well, why don't you come in 2 years from now? Why don't you have an office? Why don't you have a better business card? Why don't you have a better website? Okay, yes, I want to, but that's not the purpose of my conversation. I want a contract. I wanted to have a customer. So that part was kind of hard. But the thing is, like, we blow it out of the water. We work so hard. our first year, 2012, we did only $49,000 in revenue, which is crazy. I remember I was like, holy cow, I've been making money, the whole time, and we have $46,000. Again, this is not net. This is the total revenue,
Wow.
So we're like, holy cow, this Christmas is not gonna be good. Uh, uh, so it's not gonna be good. And this in two people. And then and I remember, I mean, I'm sure at the time my wife was starting to get worried. It's like, but I did not. I felt that same mindset. I just got to keep double my effort. I just got to keep double my effort. And then the year after that, without raising any capital, we we had a net revenue of $900,000 in sales
Wow.
in 2013. From 2012 to 2013, it was like mind blowing. And our companies keep growing,
Wow.
multi-million dollars company, over 100 people to this day.
And how old were you when you and your partner started that first
So,
company?
and in 2012, so about 43, 44.
Mm,
So that's that's when I started. Yeah.
mm. It's never too late. It's never too
Never too
late.
late. Never too late. No, absolutely never too late. It's like you think about it, you dream it, you get it done. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So tell our listeners a little bit about your company and what it does, because I know now you have a different company and you merged. So tell us a little bit about that.
So awesome. So over the years, strategically, we've been trying to figure out exactly what we want our company to be. So not only although we started as a physical cybersecurity firm, in 2017 we acquired another company that's been around for 25 years, whose name is One Walker Group. They're deep into training development. We know that we had the foresight that online learning was going to be the thing, in 2017. So I invested our, current companies, into buying another firm. So that firm would come by to the Taino consulting group that we have. We make it a One Walker Group as one company. And that one company have three focus. They have a cybersecurity focus. There's a physical security focus. We still do that as a practice, but we also have a training development focus. And not only we develop training, we also do things like virtual reality. We sort of tested those kind of new concept. We have even an innovation lab within our firm where we are testing virtual reality, augmented reality, how that tools and systems and technology can enhance training for the population, the companies and employees. And then to this day, we have, all of the big name clients you can think of on the federal side. And we also have a lot of private companies like transportation agency companies, banking that's using our services and so forth. So we focus on our training on soft skill training, but with some micro learning kind of my way to sort of give people who work for this organization a small dose of that training. We think that that's the way it's most effective. But we're also doing, our firm also has a practice of physical security consulting where we consult major organizations on the security protocol, the security risks, and how do we put a program together to reduce the risk and mitigate the risk, and also cybersecurity as well, where we do a lot of cybersecurity auditing to make sure that organization, we call it a cyber hygiene, to make sure organization really get this stuff in order to prevent major risk to happen to that organization. So that's our firm. We are in 8 different states. We have people in 8 different, actually at least about 8 to 12 different states. We have people right now, and we have clients all over the place. And at the same time, we also have 2 major offices, one in DC because of our presence in the federal government. Is in Virginia, in DC, and also
Mhm.
one in Boston, which is where our headquarters is. So that's our firm. We have an excellent organization. We have excellent people as part of the firm. And I think the beauty of doing your own company is you set your own culture, the
Mhm.
own standard that we want to. So that's what I'm really proud of, the fact that we're able to attract wonderful people that share the value that we have about community, value inclusion, value of, we want to do whatever it takes to satisfy our clients. But at the same time, we want to making sure that we have a company that sort of service our client, doing the best possible work, and be the top, in everything we do.
And so when you say cybersecurity training, are you guys coming into these corporations, these government agencies, and training their IT departments to learn about the cybersecurity attacks and audits, or what do you mean when you say the training portion?
So we do both. Not only we do the
Oh, okay.
training piece as a develop the training for either the IT folks or
Mm.
the people who work in the organization, because in every organization, whether you're looking at physical security or cybersecurity, your biggest risk is your people. And also they are also your biggest asset as well. So you're the biggest asset. They don't want to have to make you make the money that you want to make, but also you know that you're vulnerable, because when you have people that may not have the proper training, they can do things that may not be the smart thing to do. So not only we do that, we also do the audit, where we do security assessment on the cyber side for company. Company might come to us and say, we don't know where to start. We don't know if our system is secure. We're not sure that if what we're already doing is the best thing to do. Or in many cases, company will come to us and say, we have this federal government, we have this agency that say we need to do this audit. We don't know where to start. Please help us. And we come in and do the audit and tell them what they have to do to go to the next level. Or sometime in a case where when we have a major breach in this country, you find small and mid-sized companies start to scratch their heads, especially the CEO and the owners of the firm say, I'm wondering if this thing can happen to us. And that's when they start looking at, so, you know what, let me find out if someone can come in and help me.
Amazing, amazing. You guys seem like you're doing so much and you're covering a lot of bases. So that's amazing. That's powerful.
We
We
do.
need we need we need more of you guys.
We do. We do.
So
We do need more of us.
yes. So, Herbie, did you prepare yourself in any way, like taking any extra courses, going to events, or reading books? And I know you have your education, but for those 6 months that you were planning to just leave the corporate world, I think you mentioned you were working at the airport for those extra 6 months. How did you prepare yourself to become an entrepreneur and to open up that business with a partner?
So that's a very good question. And I will tell you that, yes, there's a lot of book out there, whether it's book about leadership, management, small business, tipping points, all of those books. Over the years, I read some of them, and I read some of them while I was working at companies. So I'm always someone that like to expand my mind about a different perspective, especially something that I'm not accustomed to. I never had a business before. I don't know about how to run a company. So anything like this will really intrigue me. And also, be it going online, whether it's like, Inc, all of those magazines, Business Inc, or you name them. I always being intrigued by this. But I also feel that where I think I learned the most during the 6 months, even after that, is really talk to other entrepreneurs. I make it a point that to always ask people for time. So during that time, not only I was trying to understand the lay of the land about businesses, but I also was talking to people that's had business before. So I was, reaching out to people that I know been in business for many years, or that's have a company that's growing. I was asking them, hey, do you mind if I spend 30 minutes, 40 minutes of your time just to pick your brain? I just want to understand how have you done it. I learned the best that way than sort of being in classroom, being in the book, because I thought that was my best education, just learning from people. Because I'm a people person. I can ask a question, I can listen to someone, I can see that person's perspective, I can say, I got it. And I can ask a direct question as opposed to read a book. So I did a lot. And because this is so important to me, I do the same thing for a lot of people, whether it's new entrepreneurs or people thinking about business. I'm always open as a leader, as a CEO of my company, to always mentor, talking, being a sounding board for not only or the business like mine, I still have CEO group that I belong to, that I listen to people, even to this day. So I
Hmm.
still do that where I just can, 12 or so of us as CEOs meeting on a monthly basis, talking about different things we're doing, different way of doing strategy, why we need a year of strategy plan, why we need to understand our finance, all those kind of things. So that's how I learn. I learn from people by talking to people, socialize with people, and asking people for the time. And
Hmm.
then it's amazing how many times people will say, yes, of course, I would love to talk to you about how I did this. I would love to talk to you about how I grew my business. And I have to tell you that, the piece that I know I had is grit. I know no matter what, I'm gonna work hard to get it done.
Hmm.
But what I need to understand is understand the path some of these people have gone through. What are the path they've gone through? Who helped them? How they get where they are. So I try to sort of listen and pay attention to those kind of things.
Awesome. So, so powerful. Wow, that's amazing. And I'm just really interested to know, how do you look at failures and how do you overcome them?
Wow. Oh, jeez. Okay. I have many of those.
This is
So
deep.
it is kind of deep. I do not like failure. I don't like failure. I like to win, not to fail. But I also being in a mindset that I like to utilize failure in a positive way. So when it happened. So I'm certainly not going out there looking for failure. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not
Right,
out there like,
right.
oh man, when is my next failure is gonna come? I hope never. You know, yes. But at the same time, I am utilize failure in a way that I think that I try to learn from it. I try to feel that, I always feel that when failure happened in my own mind, thinking that what it is in that failure for me to learn and become a better person, not only as a leader, but also as a person, not only as a leader of a company, but as a person, as an individual as well. So I always sort of look at that. So I, even when failure happened, I look at it in a very positive way. I said, okay, it happened. I know that's already done. So what can we do to make sure that doesn't happen again? What can I do to learn from that situation? What that failure is telling me? Because I always feel there's always an underlining lesson into that, right? It could be,
Mhm.
wow, I failed at this thing, but geez, if I didn't learn from it, it would have been worse the next time. So I
Mhm.
kind of thinking that way. I'm saying, okay, wow, great, this has happened. I know how to do that. So I had a situation in my company where when I started, I was like happy and then signing contract with everybody that stopped working for me. I was like, oh man, you want a contract? Yes, I'll give you a contract. And then I learned, well, after a lot of failure in lawsuit and legal work, I learned tremendous amount of lessons. Like, oh, listen, Herbie, you don't really have to do that. You don't have to do this. And for some reason, I felt that I had to. You don't have to do this. There's millions of people working for organization without a contract. So you can pay them and do whatever you gotta do under the state law of Massachusetts, and then pay them right. You don't need to have a contract with them, and you can tell them what you want to do because you are the driver's seat. You don't have
Mhm.
to say, I gotta give you a contract if someone's
Mhm.
gonna get a job. And then I never had a contract in any company that I worked for.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I don't know why this mindset come to me that I have to give people contract. So I learned very good. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna do that again. I'm not gonna have a contract with people that work for me as a direct employee. I have
Mhm.
contract with 1099 and independent contractor. That's a different story. But
Right.
if you work for me directly as an employee, you're not gonna have a contract. So again, this is something that I think that I realized that even when you fail, you think, you know what lesson that I need to learn from this so make sure it doesn't happen again. So that's how I look at failure. That's how I overcome failure. Utilize it in a positive way to help me become a better leader.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's very, very powerful information, and everyone listening is learning from you as well. So let's chat a
Thank you.
little a little bit about your successes. But before you get to answer that question, I just want to prep you. And the reason why I ask about successes is to show the immigrants that they can do it too. So with that, I'll leave it up to you to share whatever success you would like with our listeners.
Wow. Uh, yes, that's a deep question as well. Um, I have to tell you that I have a lot of successes over the years. I mean, I tell you how our revenues grown from, 40 something thousand dollars to close to $1 million within our first year, within our second year, 2013, within the company. So that's part is that I also feel that I think from a success perspective, the ability, and it's a nice privilege to have and a success, the ability to hire the people and the talent that you want is an awesome thing. Or the ability to influence the type of people that work for you is an awesome thing. The fact that I can say, if I want my company to be more diverse, if I want my company to be gender balanced, if I want all those things to happen, I can make it happen. This is priceless. This is like, I mean, if you work in most organizations, you don't have that choice many times, even if the organization intend or wanted to do that. So I think so. I also feel that we have 140 or so employees in our company currently. I always feel that the privilege to be able to have 100 families. I like to look at the people who work for me as family, because all of these employees has someone else they are either sharing that money with, or giving that money to, or taking care someone of that money, whether it's a kids, or spouse, or parents, or grandparents, or the neighbors cafe, so I always feel that they are family. So I think the feeling of thinking that, wow, that you can influence, you are being a leader of an organization where 100 families are taking care of their own family. It's a wonderful feeling to have. That's a wonderful feeling to have. And then all the success that I have is the fact that when you're entrepreneurs and get to the level that I got, the freedom that I have. I got the freedom to say, you know what, I'm going to work at home today. Or I'm going to only work at home. I'm going to travel tomorrow. Oh, guess what? I'm going to take my family to a vacation for 2 weeks or whatever. So that freedom, it's a very valuable thing to be. I tell people that in company that I work for, I felt that even though I work harder in my business, I was more stressful in companies that I work for than I am in my company. I feel
Wow.
my level of stress is like, it's like day and night. For some reason,
Wow.
I was, which is interesting. I felt that all the company that I work with, although I had big job in those companies, and I had a big job in my company, but I just feel that it was stressful. It was very stressful. It was
Um,
stressful. I feel that I was not centered as a person. I feel that's, as a, spiritually, that's sort of draining on me. In my company, I'm able to be more calm, the person that I want to be, the spouse and the family member and the dad that I want to be. I feel that, wow, I turned vegan a few years ago. I feel
no
I can.
way.
Absolutely. I was like,
What?
I feel that I was like, I can do those kind of thing. I feel that I'm more centered to do my thing. So yeah, so that's kind of that's sort of the path. I feel that I'm
Wow.
more centered. I'm more in control of my destiny, what I wanted to do, the way I want to do it. Um, it's that feeling. It's the opposite of what I feel on December 26th, 1989.
Yeah.
It was like confused, don't know where I am, what this place look like, don't have no clue what tomorrow's gonna look like. When I came to this country, to fast forward 20 something years ago, in this time, I'm like, oh yeah, I got a better handle on things. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know where my kids gonna go. I know what the college gonna look like. I know where this
hmm
thing's gonna be. Yeah, so that's a priceless feeling. That's
Awesome.
absolutely priceless.
Love it. Okay, so is giving back, either volunteering or giving back to the community, part of your business values?
Absolutely. It's at the core of who we are as a company. I mean, it's not even the value, it's just the core. His value sometimes change something. No, no. It's at the core of the people that we are. We felt that, as a community, but also I feel that as a steward of this company, even though the company is mine, but I feel that as the leader of this organization, we have, as a human being and leader, we have to, when we have the privilege to affect change, when we have the privilege to make something different, I believe we have to do whatever it takes to sort of make the world, whatever you want to think it that way, a better place, or make the environment a better place, make our community a better place. Because I feel that if I'm successful and my community around me and the people in my organizations are not, that's really not a good outcome.
Hmm.
So to me, a best outcome is where we all lift our community as we are climbing the ladder. We have to do that through our investment, financial investment in this community or in the community that we are. But on top of it, but also our time in people, our time in community service. I'm on so many boards, that I serve to, and I feel that this is something that I have to do. I feel that this is the core of who I am, the person I am, and I encourage my team members to do the same thing as well. So when I'm hiring someone, I pay attention to that.
Hmm.
I pay attention, like, okay, is this person just been working their whole life? When people usually at the end of the resume saying that they are involved in X, Y, and Z project, X, Y, and Z community, X, Y, and Z community
Hmm.
organization, that's very attractive to me because I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, they will fit in.
Hmm.
This is what we do. We've done project where we serve military folks who hurt. We went to soldier home for the veteran. Where we've done that. We think this is important. We go serve in soup kitchen as a company. We give fund to organization as a
Hmm.
company. So we think that's extremely at the core of who we are as a company.
And it's probably another reason why your business has been so successful is because you give back in so many ways.
Yeah, I mean, we like to think so. I mean, I like to think so, but I also feel that I like to think so, but I also feel that at the end of the day is this is who we are. As this
Hmm.
is who we are. I always feel that because, you know, even I've done all of this thing and I work so hard to get where I am. But I always feel that my success has a lot to do with all the people around me, the community that I'm in. I don't believe that those are solo movement. I don't believe like, oh yeah, I just was born to become an entrepreneur and I just get dropped and all of a sudden I make all of those success. I feel that success is a connection of the community that I'm in, is the person that I talk to about how to do business, is a person that I talk to about, how do you start a company, is a
Hmm.
person that's worked for me, that's give me everything his or hers have, working for my organization like this company belonged to them. I feel that that's what the success is. It's not a solo kind of thing.
Hmm.
It's a communal kind of movement. So that's how I feel. I don't feel that I am on this thing alone by myself. I feel that it's connected. So because it's connected, I feel that what we have to do is continue that, not stop this, is continue that movement. So people either work for my company or people who see me or people that I mentor, people that I talk to, people that I serve, organizations I serve to, that I carry this thing with me all the way through.
So, what are some things that you would advise the next aspiring immigrant that wants to start their own business that's listening to you right now?
So there's one thing that I have to say. There's one thing that I will tell people. If you believe this is what you want to do, if you think this is the right path for you, I say jump all in. I One of the things that I've done when I started my business in August 2012, I did not have another job. I jumped all in. I left my company, even though I was planning to jump all in. But the moment my website would turn on, that it was live, that I was no longer working for the last organization, that I was working for a new organization, I jumped all in.
Mm.
I did not do another two job while I'm trying to do something else. I say I'm fully committed to that. I felt that that was one of the key aspect of the success that I have, which is I didn't have one foot in, the other foot somewhere else. I just jumped and then say, okay, let's just swim and see where I end up. And I would say, yeah, I would say that would be one of the key things. If you're sort of serious about doing it, just do it. Just
Mm-hmm.
do it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean, just do it. And then also, especially as an immigrant, it's also important and good to think to put things in reference, to really saying, because that's all the other thing that I did. I always look at where I am now to where I was as an immigrant, as someone who was in a different country, the level that I was to the level that I am right now. And that was always a point of reference to me. I think that's probably one of the reasons a lot of immigrants are successful in business is because it's easier for us to make that point of reference between where I was and what I am now. The
Mm-hmm.
opportunities, the tremendous amount of opportunity this country presents to us as an immigrant compared to where that person perhaps was in their own country, where the opportunity was limited, where
Mm-hmm.
you know that for you to get where you are now, it will take a tremendous amount of time and energy and resources. So I
Mm-hmm.
almost kind of put that reference, thinking like, listen, if I know where I am now and where I know where I was, there's no way that I can get back to that place. No way that I can get to it. I know from that, I know by the moment that you're in this country thinking about doing your own business, it's already success.
Right, right,
I mean,
right.
that's not like I was like, just me thinking in my mind that I'm gonna leave my company. I have all the degrees that I can have, working at a great job. That mindset alone, it's a privileged mindset. Is one that say, wow, for me to think that I'm like, listen, this is great. On day one, I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
You're halfway there when you open your business,
You're
right?
halfway there. You're like, I can't believe this. You're already halfway there. Just
Yeah.
like so all you gotta do is like now it's like, okay, great. Now let's do something. You're in the middle of that journey. So that's how I felt. That's basically
Awesome.
how I felt. Even all the
Awesome.
struggle, I'm not minimizing the struggle, but I'm also saying that I put them in perspective.
Right, right. Awesome. So powerful. What time do you normally start your day?
I usually start my day at 4:20 in the morning.
Wow, you are the earliest interviewee that I've had to start at
Yes,
4:20.
yes. 4:20. That's the time that I start at 4:20.
Okay.
4:20 I started because I start to try my gym around 5 a.m. So I either go work out running or go to the gym at 5 in the morning, and by 6 o'clock I'm done, shower and start my day. But I like to sleep early.
Awesome.
9 p.m. I like to be in bed. So 9 p.m. I like to be in bed. So, but yeah,
Good. Good.
that's why I'm an early riser. Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. How many employees do you have?
Right now we have about 141 employees.
Awesome. How often do you watch TV in a week?
None. I don't watch
Okay.
TV. I do not watch TV. But I read the
Love it.
news. I read the
Okay.
news. I read articles and news, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal. I was reading a nice article this morning. I read the news and stuff, but I do not, and I get on social media, but I do not watch TV. I rarely watch TV. Except with my
Awesome.
kids, if they like beg me for a movie, I do that for them.
Awesome. And then how many hours of work do you normally put in?
I would say on a daily basis, I put in probably, I would say on average 10 to 12 hours a day.
Okay. And what is your favorite food?
My favorite food. Wow. I have a lot of favorite food.
Is it just a bunch of vegan food? Because I love a bunch of vegan food too.
That's one. That's a bunch of vegan food is my favorite food. But interestingly, the food that I feel that I will eat all the time without being sick of it is oatmeal with cinnamon and maple syrup and
Mm.
slice of banana on top of it, and then
Mm.
1 or 2 scoops of peanut butter.
Wow.
I can
Amazing.
have that for lunch, dinner, breakfast, and then start it again having the next day. It's not having it the same. It's always just the same. Great. It always seems good. The same. Oh wow, this is good.
That is definitely the key to your success is oatmeal.
Oatmeal. Oatmeal is a success. Seriously.
Awesome. Herby, thank you so much for coming onto my show. You are extremely positive and a happy person. It's amazing to see what you're doing out there in the world. And I am sending you warm wishes and lots of more success and health and happiness. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm so honored to listen and learn from you. This was absolutely an amazing opportunity, and I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I really want to thank you. Thank you to you and your listeners, and the same success to you as well. I think what you're doing really projected, showing all the success and so many immigrants are doing. I always tell people I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people with tremendous amount of stories like mine, but I really thank you and honored that you give me the opportunity.
Alrighty, guys. I hope you got to learn so much from Herby because I sure did. Hey, and if you're listening to this podcast and you're an immigrant entrepreneur and would love to be on my show, go ahead and email me at hello@alinawarwick.com. I would love to share your inspiring story so all of us immigrants can be inspired. You are a true American success. I'll catch you guys later. Take care. Guys later. Take care. Guys later.